In this video, I'm going to do a review of the accessories on my 2023 Ducati Multistrada V4 Rally, the accessories on it, the general overview of this bike, and then give you my opinion after 2,800 miles of this beautiful Italian machine. She is beautiful. So let's get into it. I'll start by reviewing the options or accessories I put on this motorcycle. Initially, when I purchased this bike, the intent was that I was going to use it for adventure riding, street, and then some off-road riding. And I realized that I do not have the skills at 60 years old to ride this bike off-road. And it is so beautiful. I did not want to do it to this motorcycle. I just couldn't take it off-road. So, that being said, I prepped it as if it was going to be an off-road motorcycle. So let's start from the bottom up on the bike. And in the Multistrada V4 Rally, it does come with a belly pan on it. Comes with the adjustable brake lever that you can flip up when you're riding off-road, then flip it down for when you're riding on the street. It does come with two aluminum panniers, the side pannier cases. It does come with that. It does not come with a rack for the center rear pannier or that pannier. We'll get to that a little later. I did decide to put, without a doubt, crash bars on this motorcycle. Really, I thought Ducati was the only one that had crash bars for it, and I'm glad that they did, because that's essential for me on any motorcycle, including my Harley Davidson. I did add the driving lights to it. The crash bars and the driving lights are accessory options. They don't come on the bike. I did add, if you can see it, the radiator guards, the black anodized, I think they're black anodized metal radiator guards for the oil cooler and the radiator. I did add those to it. Again, I'm prepping it like I'm riding it off-road. What else did I add as we work our way up? Hand guards were all plastic that came on the bike, and they were probably this low. So I went with the oversized hand guards, and half of them are metal, and then the interior is still plastic. So this is essential during cold weather to protect your hands from the wind. And I've ridden this bike below 40 degrees, actually close to 35 degrees. Hand guards worked really well. It comes with heated grips. As we work our way, well, something you can't see on the motorcycle is I did go with an alarm on the bike. I think you push that to arm it. It's armed, and then this button to disarm it. That's the alarm. So that's how the alarm system works on it. I have set it off, as this was my first motorcycle in 35 years. I didn't know where I'd be riding this bike, if people would want to steal it. You just never know, and crime is increasing in our area. So I thought I'd put the alarm system on. I think I've only used it once on a day ride. You know, it's good to have it. It's a nice feature the motorcycle has. The center pannier for me on a touring motorcycle is a must. As you can see, I have one on my Harley Davidson 2024 Road Glide. I can fit my helmet in here, gloves, sometimes my helmet, gloves, and a lightweight summer jacket I can stuff in there. This is keyed to the same key mechanism as the other panniers, and it is very easy to remove the whole pannier. They have that system down. I did add a charging tender on it, which is nice. Also, I plugged my heated gear in that on occasion. Garmin mount. So I did give it with a navigation mount. This is a separate option. And then I also, through Ducati, it's a Garmin Zumo. It's not the 2, it's a Garmin Zumo 1. It's branded Ducati, but it's basically a Garmin unit. I added a quad lock. Oh, I guess she's armed. Real life test, huh? Okay, not planned. I guess that's how the alarm works, right, guys? Okay, I did add a quad lock charger with the ice dampening isolator on it, and I am just a huge fan of these quad lock systems for mounting your phone. I even have the mount along on my nightstand where it locks in and it charges the phone at night. So quad lock mount I've added to. Back up to the Garmin, the navigation mount, which mounts up here on the, basically on the windshield, and then the Garmin Zumo XT, which is sold, I bought it through Ducati, but it's basically a Garmin unit, and that works very well. I almost forgot enough. Tire pressure monitors, both wheels on the front. It does, I think that should be on all motorcycles, but it does not come on this bike. I did have those. If you watch the video where I went to Hamburg Bike Night, when I left that event in the rain, the tire pressure alarm went off, showing there was low pressure in the tires as I pulled out of the dealership. As the tires got hot, they just got above the minimum tire pressure setting, and then it closed off the alert. And shame on me for not checking the tire pressure before I left. So, should I show you where the tire pressure is? Let's go over here to the toggle. Fuel consumption is showing an average of 43.5 on this. I've gotten up to, on a touring, I've gotten 50 miles to the gallon on 300-mile days. And you can see my average speed limit, 41 miles an hour, is high. I don't like that. Let's keep going down. Front tire pressure, it's not moving, so it's not going to monitor it. You can see it's reading. It's not giving me a reading on the tire pressure. That's okay. It has to, you have to move a little bit for that to engage. And the bike's been sitting for well over a month. So there's my miles, 2,852 miles on the bike, real world miles. That's the bike. Let's flip up. We'll flip up. Now I hold this dongle up, and it will flip up to the top menu item here. And that's on heated seat. It has a heated seat and heated grips. Heated grips are turned on up here. This is how you activate the heated grips. This is how you activate, you hold that to activate the driving lights, the additional lights. Let's not get in the lap. Setting menu, Ducati Connect. Adaptive cruise control is a must on this bike. Phone, volume, heated seats. Let's go in. I really want driverless mode. Riding mode. Okay, let's go to here. Click in here. So you have sport, which is, I like sport, and that's a problem because I've been leaving it in sport. Touring, which is more relaxed. I have it set up to softer suspension and full power on it. Enduro is more for off-road use. I never really use that. Urban, I never really got what urban was for. I kind of use that in rain because it doesn't have a rain mode. And I believe urban, the throttle is softened up. And then you can custom tune a mode. You can custom tune all these ride modes. And then sport is where I rode this bike for most of the time. Let's go back to setting menus, riding mode, let's go info display, let's not go there. And DLR, I think is daytime running light, backlight, pin code. Why I bought this motorcycle over, which was a bike that was on my bucket list, was the BMW GSA, is that it has rear-facing radar on it, which is here. It also has adaptive cruise control radar, which is in the front. That's for the adaptive cruise control, which I love. But this is really your blind spot radar, and that will light up when there's a vehicle in my blind spot. That will glow. I think it's yellow, and you can adjust the brightness of that light. On both mirrors have it. Something on the left side, the left mirror lights up. Something on the right side, the right mirror lines up. That works very well. Heated seat is generally this time of year I use that. That's a must for me to have that heated seat availability. I will tell you that the setup is great on this bike. Between my phone, where it's located, I can see the TFT screen, and then also where the navigation is excellent. I did find that in the full up position that this navigation screen did tend to wobble a little bit on a bumpy road, and that was, it wasn't a big deal. Sometimes this would vibrate down and I'd have to tighten it and move it up. But otherwise, the orientation on this bike is excellent. To lower the bike, it does not lower automatically like the new BMW GS and GSA do, or the Harley Davidson. Pan America, you have to hold this in order, this button for it to lower. Cruise control is here. I love the adaptive cruise control. The controls are backlit, which I think should be an industry standard, but I guess it's not. Anything else on the instrumentation that I want to go through with you? Excellent. I cannot tell you, this bike is just excellent. It has a Multistrada V4 Rally. The Rally model does have an 8-gallon fuel tank, maybe 7.9 gallons. It does have the big fuel tank on it. I'm going to shut the bike off. It does have an electronic suspension. Ducati calls it skyhook because it's like you're stationary in the air and the suspension moves like you're floating. It is excellent. As good as the suspension is, it does not ride as well as a Goldwing. That Goldwing suspension, it's like you're floating on air. Forks do dive. Under heavy braking, you do get dive on the front forks, even with the setting where to eliminate that. Not bad. So the suspension, A. The looks of the bike, I would give it an A, although sometimes these newer bikes all have beaks on them. I think the best looking motorcycle is that Husqvarna Nord 901, but we'll move past that. Looks of the bike, I think, are just beautiful. I had to get it in Ducati, red, racing red, Italian red, Ferrari red, had to get it. Some interesting points with the engine is it is a V4 engine arrangement on it. If you watch F9, Fortnite, his YouTube channel, he says the V4 configuration in a motorcycle engine is the most efficient because they balance themselves out. This motorcycle for 2023, when they came out with a rally model, the rear cylinders do deactivate under 4,000 RPM when you're driving around. That does help you help your fuel mileage, and the engine does run cooler. And when you're stopped at a light and the clutch is pulled in, those cylinders will also deactivate. And you can hear it if you've watched some of my videos. I'll let the clutch out and those cylinders will re-engage to in order when you take off. These I added on just to protect the crash bars on the bike if I do drop it. I think I've covered all the accessories on the motorcycle. General review on the bike. Let's talk about that. Marauder, I have felt like Superman. I've been working out 2 hours a session. I lift weights for an hour, free weights, and then I go in and do either a bike class or a shred aerobics class. And I've been doing this for over a year now, actually, to ride motorcycles. I've lost over 100 pounds in 7 years, and specifically over 35 pounds this last year, and really gotten in shape to ride motorcycles, specifically off-road. Felt like Superman the last 2 months. I've had injuries along the way. I throw my back out. So I'm going to try to sit through this, and if my back is arched funny, it's because it's not right. It's tight. So, a general overview of this motorcycle. I'll give you an honest overview. When I purchased it, I was leery about Ducati quality and reliability. And when I met with the dealership, it was Bob Weaver's Motorsports. When I met with the head of their service department and their head service tech, they really finalized my opinion on buying this motorcycle and assured me that Ducati, since Audi has taken them over, has really worked on improving their image for quality and reliability. And the service manager told me, we will stand behind this motorcycle and we will take care of it for you. Basically, I said that. Are you going to take care of my bike because my life depends on it? Remember, I was off 35 years of riding motorcycle on or off the street. The reliability on this motorcycle and the craftsmanship, excellent. Excellent. This is, in all seriousness, This is the Ferrari of motorcycles. Now, I'm not talking high-end motorcycles that are six figures for the motorcycles. For a mass manufactured motorcycle, Ducati, the Multistrada, any one of the Multistradas, they are the Ferrari of motorcycles. Put that to, they have Japanese quality and reliability, which is saying a lot. The issues I've had with this motorcycle, before the first service, there was some noise coming from the front brakes on the bike. When they serviced the bike, the tech looked at them, followed the Ducati manual, reset up the brakes, went away. That was at I think my first oil change was 625 miles, went away. No engine issues, no electronic issues. I did have the mounts for the seat. The seat has a couple mounts built into the sub-chassis frame on it, and where you stick a plunger in and rotate it and the seat locks into it. One of those mounts fell off. The dealer took care of it under warranty. I got an extended warranty that goes out to 6 years on this bike. Dealer took care of that under warranty. Within the first year, ordered the parts, fixed that so it's 100%. After that, flawless. Flawless. Bike has been extremely reliable. I think it's as high a quality as any mass-produced bike there is, including the Japanese bikes. Engineering, as good as any on the market, and as good as any bike made. It's an excellent motorcycle. Excellent motorcycle. The engine, 170 horsepower, is unlimited power. That's probably my biggest concern with keeping this motorcycle, is that I found myself going faster and faster on the bike, where I leave it in touring mode, I was leaving it in sport mode, I was leaving it in the firm suspension setting. This motorcycle is not classified as a sport tourer. Ducati has another motorcycle for that. I would put this up against any, now it's basically an adventure bike, is how they brand it. I would put the Rally up against any sport touring motorcycle with more horsepower or less horsepower. Professional driver on the road, this bike will keep up with them or it will pass them. Unlimited power. And that's what concerned me, is I was driving it faster and faster and faster, and I didn't like that. Torque, it does not have the torque of, let's say, a brand that's close to my heart, and I'll talk about that in some video, KTM. They're struggling right now, self-imposed reorganization. Does not have the torque of the 1290 or 1390 KTM V-twin engine, or of a big Harley. This displacement I think is like 1150. Harleys are just under 2,000 cc's. Does not have the torque of a BMW GS or GSA. There are 1300 models. Does not have the torque of a boxer engine. And that you do have to, when you're taking off, I would have to keep the RPMs higher on this bike than without a doubt, on my other motorcycles, which I'll show you at the end of this video. So, sufficient torque, the engine vibration, 0. Issues with the engine, 0. Power, unlimited, limitless, unbelievable power, 170 horsepower. Man, this motor's just unbelievably fast. Quiet, I like that it was quiet. It's not a loud bike, I really liked it. Suspension, the electronic suspension, top of the line. The only thing is, I wonder if Harley, for their touring motorcycles, might go with some type of cantilever suspension, like Honda Goldwing, or BMW GS or GSA. If they'll do that in the near future, we'll see if they do that. Suspension, braking, best, as good as any. best, engineering best, engine best, suspension best. I wish it did have a rain mode, although every time I use rain mode when it rains, I don't use it because you got to use your brain and your throttle rather than rain mode. I can see why they didn't do it on this bike. I wish it had rain mode, but then whenever I don't even like using rain mode in the rain. It's just the throttle's just too dithered. The tires on the bike are tubeless. So even though it's spoke, they are tubeless tires. You don't need tubes on it. Fuel economy, again, I've gotten up, if you watch your throttle settings, use the cruise control, I've gotten 50 miles per the gallon on it. My lowest has probably been 42 miles to the gallon on a short ride where I was getting on it. So efficiency, I think it's excellent. Again, this was the first Multistrada in 2023, was the first that had the rear cylinder shut off. Now they do it. I think they're starting to spread that over all of their lines of Multistrada. As far as tech goes, when I bought this, this was the most tech bike there was. Adaptive cruise control, the 6-axis CPU for braking, blind spot awareness. Now I think on this motorcycle and other Multistradas, they do have emergency braking, like on the BMW GS and GSA. Remember BMW, guys. BMW GSA was on my bucket list of bikes. Remember that. We'll see what happens in the next month or so. Great bike. Great bike. And I always tell people in my videos, don't believe me. Go to the dealer, research your bikes, whether it's on YouTube or online. Talk to owners. Go on YouTube, watch videos where they're reviewing the motorcycle. Go to the dealer, talk to the dealer, ride the motorcycle. Get out and ride the motorcycle. I rode a Multistrada that wasn't a V4 Rally, and it impressed me enough that I closed the deal on this motorcycle. Can't say enough good things about it. And this motorcycle, a Ducati, was not on my bucket list like a Road Glide Harley Davidson or KTM Dual Sport or BMW GSA was on my bucket list. And I didn't buy the BMW GSA because it was an old design, and they've updated it this year. Can't say anything better about this bike than get out and ride it, and it is excellent. I will say one negative: the bike is top heavy. With this 8 gallons of fuel up here, it's very wide in the front. She is a top heavy bike. Most adventure bikes are top heavy that are carrying 8 gallons of fuel, except for maybe the Husqvarna Nord 901, which is over there, beautiful bike, and the BMWs with their boxer engines. They tend to be top heavy if they're carrying 8 gallons of fuel. I think that's it, Marauders. You know, the alarm system works. Cooling. Because these rear cylinders deactivate, and I should have mentioned this, you can open and close these side vents on the bike. So during the summer, you leave them open so cold air runs by the engine to cool the engine. That helps. Also, the cylinders deactivating. During the winter months or colder fall and spring, winter, I shut the vents so the engine stays warm and it heats me up. Heated seats, heated grips. Excellent. Excellent. So criticism is just top heavy, maybe a little better storage. The storage compartment on this model is up on the fairing. You can't really put a lot in there, or a phone. I think they've changed that, and other models that they have. Just a beautiful motorcycle. Highly recommend it. And I don't hang on to anything long. I'll just leave you with that. I'll close out this video. Please consider subscribing to the channel, liking the video, sharing it with a friend. I do have more videos of this bike that will be coming up, of riding videos with it. Even, I want to just say this, even the design of the crash bar on the bike is just beautiful. Just something about Italian designer. The rear sub, I don't know what to call it, a subframe, but the rear truss frame on this bike is painted. I love that they painted it red. They just didn't black it out. It's just, let me show you. Just the design of this is so beautiful. It so nicely integrates with the bike. Just a great design, and the way they stylize the front, you know, where Ducati, or not Ducati, KTM makes their stuff like bug eye on their older models, where this has a beak on it, but it's just very well stylized. Look at the air vents for the intake on the bike. Coming around the back, this lower fender, and then the upper is very smooth and integrated. The shock is offset to one side because on the other Multistrada bikes that they really only have a single-sided swing arm in the back. It's an awesome motorcycle. Here's the storage box, which really, I can't put a full-size iPhone in there with a case on it. It just doesn't work. Some of their other motorcycles have storage boxes here that are still a little tight. Let's show you the lights. The lights are good on this. You definitely, in my opinion, have to have the driving lights. I love how they integrated the turn signals into this bike. The driving lights were a must for me. Let's turn the high beams off. And again, you have the eyebrow as a daytime running light on it, which is just magnificent. This is so Ducati, you know, just the design under the tail light. You know, now BMW and other brands are just having the turn signals are the brake lights and the running lights, as well as turn signal lights. Little boom over here. So Marauders, that's a 2,800 mile review on my 2023 Ducati Multistrada V4 Rally. Excellent motorcycle. Just beautiful. And now you know the accessories I have on the bike. When I post the videos in the next coming month, maybe you'll have more interest in the bike, but she's just beautiful. I love how upright it sits on the kickstand. A lot of these bikes, because they lower, are really pushed over to the side. Look at how big, massive these shop front forks are in this bike. Just beautiful. Notice the finishing in the tunnel, how well finished it is. BMW did that this year. Great machine. Thank you for watching.